This this is Daf Yom Yerushalmi Yoma, and the article is Radeshim on Daf Yud Daled Amrav at the top, the fifth line down. Amrav Yechon, it says Pumpi, and in the Vilna that is on Yud Amr Beis, counting from above the Mishnah, 3, 6, 9, 10 lines above the Mishnah. So our Mishnah said that 4 payosas made every day in the Beis Hamikdash. Why not make one big payos? Why 4 separate payosas? Rabbi Yechon said there's pumpi ladover to make the matter public. Pumbi, when the Bavli it's pumbi with the base here it's pumpi. As the Korban says, arba pa'amim below kol pa'amachas for a separate case at one time. There's pirsum ladover to make it public publicity for the matters. Now, basically, Malech berogesh. To the house of Bakosh Baruch, we go with rogesh, with emotion, which means with a stir, something which makes an impression. And more passes makes more of an impression. Similarly, Rabbi said, "V'alo kohen amadashas amizbech nimi yochel dashas amenorah." They could have sent the same coin in to who cleaned the inner mizbech, the mizbech Torah, to clean the menorah as well, to remove the ashes of yesterday. So why we did do it separately? Elas is pumpi davar again in order to make more publicity, in order to make it more of a ceremony. Tamati we learned over there. Hiniach hakuza malashnia, the kohen who cleaned the menorah, put the kuz, the container with containing the ashes and stuff, on the second step. As Korban says, after he did the Tavas Neros of 5 candles, and he bowed down and he left. And then after, as Korban says, after the cleaning of the last 2 candles, took the kuz and he went out. He didn't do all 7 candles at once. And so it's piercing with in order again to make it more of a spectacle of a ceremony. Rabbi Yochanan said, so the Kohen Eda, this is going to Kohen Gadol Yom Kippur, went in 2 times, but I don't think that that's the case. It seems like it's like the parish Horas Hagrim Nechet Agra, which appears at the bottom of the Vilna of Shat, Vilna of Shas, and let's read that. He says, he gone twice in order to clean the inner mizbech, which is also for the Ktores, so that's why it's called the Ktores. That's the first word, we remove the ashes, so the new Ktores go on the floor of the mizbech, on the top of the mizbech, not the floor, the top, the same thing, floor is the top of the mizbech. So he would do the cleansing, and not immediately put the Torah on. In the middle, he would do that Tav Shtei Neros, the last second 2 candles, the last 2 candles. The Shtei is like the Torahs. You're going to bring the Torahs after that Tav Shtei Neros. Madul like the Tefla Chadishon. Why do the bringing of the Torahs immediately after he cleansed the Mizbeach? So El Kadesus Pumpi Badover, again the same business, make a Pumpi Badover. Shimon Lakashimar Dvar Torahu, no, it's the Raiso. The divide up the 5 candles and 2 candles is not based on Lassus Pumpi Dover, it's to learn from a pasuk, because it says Baboker, so the so it says Baboker, 2 Bukarim. So why 2 Bukarim? Because 2 Hatavos. One of the 5, one of the 2. I guess you do it as much as you can at first, but then you have Hatavos Neros, that's just the Ner. So leave 2 for afterwards. So Ma'avle Rabbi Yochanan. So why does Rabbi Yochanan do this pasuk? Right? We have a pasuk. Why does he say it's pumpi? Right? So it says Baboker Beit Tivos and Ros Yakti Reno. It sounds like indeed like Hashem is saying, right? You interrupt the Hatavas Neros with the Ktores, as the Perish Agrim says. Perish Harei Hatavas Neros Kol Ktores. He says, so interesting way he explains the pasuk. He says that the Hatavas Neros comes before the Torah, right? And so but it can't, because you go into the Dishon HaMizbeach, you first reach the Mizbeach. Ema Vina Mitzvahs. So that's why you do Dishon, the Atavas of Chamesh Neros, a Kotora, and then the Atavas Shtei Neros. The Ema Vina Mitzvahs. Then you do the first Baboker, then you do the Torah in the middle, then you do the second Baboker, the Atavas Shtei Neros. So what does Rabbi Yochanan do with this? It's from the pasuk, this sequence. What does the Rabbi Yochanan do? So Rabbi Yochanan's answer is a bit cryptic. I have my own shot here. Ma'av Rabbi Yochanan Oved Laktir. I think maybe Chaim saying something, but we're not 100% sure. Ma'av Rabbi Yochanan Oved Lahaktir. He learns Baboker differently. He learns Baboker doesn't mean you have to split up the Hatava. He learns that the Hatava comes first. Baboker is lahaktim, right? So so first you do the hatavas neros before Baboker and then yaktiana afterwards. But he could have done the dishon and haktorah together. As long as you do the hatava first, you do the dishon and haktorah together. Why do you need two kohanim? One to do the dishon, one to do the haktorah. That, says Rabbi Yochanan, is because lasos pumbi badover. So he doesn't learn about Baboker to split up. He learns it to Oived laheti lahaktir. It could have been one person who does laheti lahaktir after you did Baboker, but first you were makdim hatava. To pack the body up to two, and do first hatavas chamesh neros, then dishun hamizeh nimi, then hatavas cheshtei neros, and then aktora. That is because they are so pumbi bador. Okay, says the Mishnah Halacha. Beis. Hapayis Hasheni, the second payis. It was mi shochet, who does the shchit tamid, mi zorek, who does rikas adam, mi medashen esa mizbeach aprimi, who does the dishon mizbeach mimi, medashen znor, who does the dishon of the menorah, mi malei vorim lakevish, who takes up the vorim once they're butchered to the ramp, harosh, and the way they take off is like the head, varego, the leg, the shtei yadayim, the two forelegs, ha'oketz, the tail, ve'haregel, the leg, hechazeh, the other leg, of course, hechazeh, the chest, v'agera, the neck, okay, and this is I'll go to how many quantum each take each thing in a minute. The and the two rib cages, Vakibayim, the intestines, Vasolis, the flour of the mincha, Vachavitim, the pancakes, Changoro, Vayayin, and the wine, Ushloshesar Kohanim Zochim Bo. And 13 Kohanim would do this. Now, Amr ben Azai, if they Rabbi Kiva, Ben Azai said by Rabbi Kiva, named Rabbi Shua, the way they wouldn't take a rego before the yadayim. You take the yadayim first because it has to work. They were bringing the mizrach in the same process as it would work if it was alive. Okay, so let's see the Korbanator who describes how many people took what. Actually, the Pnei Moshe is probably better to see. Pnei Moshe says the first Kohen would be Zach Nishchita. The second would be Makabel Adam, and he would do the Zrika. The third one would be Medashim Mizeh Hapnimi. The fourth one would be Medashim the Menorah and Meiti B'Saneros. The fifth one would start with the bringing of the limbs, and he would take the head and the right leg to the ram. The sixth one would take the two forelegs. The seventh one would take the tail and the left leg. The eighth one would take the chest and the neck. The ninth one would take the two rib cage, the two sides of the rib cage. The 10th one would take the intestines. The 11th one would take the solas, the mincha. The 12th one would take the pancakes kohen, which was half in the morning, half in the afternoon. And the 13th one would take the wine of the nesachim. Okay, so that's all 13 enumerated. Obviously, I didn't read inside, but I just followed the Pnei Moshe inside how he explains it. Okay, and again, according to Yeshua, obviously the tail will go last. Tail, right? Okay, as Moshe points out, Tanakama Savar, Hatoba Yofa Kurtchila. Take the superior cuts first. The large ones first. That's not the Erchilucho, and it says Lovas like Tanakama. Okay, it says what? How do you know that that you clean off the ashes on the mizbeach primi? We assumed it in the previous Gemara, but how do we know? Right, it does. Shem said, "V'shlich osa eitz mizbeach kedma amakom adeshen." So it says you toss it by mizbeach to the east to the place of adeshen. So what does it mean amakom adeshen? Ain't no tzarech. Right? He says you don't need this El Makom Adeshen. Because now what are we talking about here? We're talking about the parts of the bird which don't go on top of his back. So the parts of the birds on his back, they're tossed to the place where the deshen goes, right? So again, why is it to say that El Makom Adeshen, right? It's superfluous. Because it's already says, Eitzam is back, right? Again, I should read the whole post. It's that post. We have a Torah showing why we would not read the post inside. Because it takes 5 article pages to catch the post, that's why. The serious murasobano, so you take the innards of the the bird with its refuse. The back came towards it. To the east to the place of the deshen. That's the pasuk. Baker Aleph Tes Zayin. Okay, so again, right? I like the way, actually, that's nice to look at the article because the way it punctuates it is different and better than what I did before. I said, it says, okay, but the way the article punctuates it, comma, or after the Kedma, is after the, as a period, but it's after the word Kedma. Yeah, after the word Kedma. Shilas Makom Adeshen Kedma. And Muradeshen ain't a tzorich. You don't need don't need a Muradeshen. In the Makom, because if it's some Lugval Makom, to tell you where it goes. So, Farkasa, it's Zvech. And it's to say it's going to the east of the ram. Parksiv Kedma says Kedma. Afu Darash Eitzam Mizbeach. So he darshins this Eitzam Mizbeach means something else that that's going on the Disha Mizbeach Hapnimi, right? And Makam is and we're saying that Makan is Mizrach Shel Kevesh. Just like here, the Mura goes to Mizrach Kevesh. Afkan, the Deshen, and not the Deshen of Mizbeach Hapnimi, goes to this place which is to the east side of the Kevesh. Minanchu also Bano. How do we know that the Dishim Mizbeach Pnimi is also Bano? So the Rabbi Lobashem said a makom tahor. Makomo tahor. This pasuk says it should be. So makom tahor. Did that before? No, different pasuk. It says when you take the deshen out, pushas godav lavashki mechim says deshen mechutz machnei makom tahor. The deshen which initially put in this place of the next is Zech, you take it out to makom tahor. So let's see that in the Moshe explains it. Says you take out the ashes from the outer mizbeach. You take it to outside the camp to our place. And Dishim Mizbeach also is the put place there. Kiyoli Flael, like we learned, like I guess learned that previously. And the Darash Makom Torah Shem Makom Torah. We expound Makom Torah Shem Makom Torah. Klamer, it should be pure in the sense that nobody should use it, pure of any usage. You shouldn't have any hana or ishtamshus there, any pleasure, any usage. Why? Shouldn't defile that place. Alma osabano. So we see it's osabano. So as Reb Chaim puts it very simply, much more simple, which is here we're using Torah in the sense of naki, clean, like it says naki emichasov, ba'ashor naki, right? It's you don't get any benefit from it. It remains pure in the sense that unadulterated, untouched. Okay. Um, uh, 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 the I see that the Pnei Moshe said that for L. No, never mind. So the Rav Zeh B'Shem Rabbi Elazar lo amar kein. Zeh Rabbi Elazar did not say this. He said a different drasha. And the Minay Dishim Mizbeach Hachitzon Shos Benoy. Hano Dishim Mizbeach Hachitzon Shos Benoy. Tamu Akom Adeshen. It says of Akom Adeshen. Shehem Akomo LeOlam. It should always be a place. That place. In other words, no usage of any sort. Just in that place. Okay. No, don't take it with any way, use or purpose. The he's it's not a separate pasuk. It's the same thing as we had. He's on Al Mokom Adeshen, which he had in the pasuk before, which we used to learn Dishim Mizbeach HaPnimi. That goes next to Mizbeach. He's saying to learn that the Dishim Mizbeach Chitzon, which was initially placed there, Shumas Adeshen was placed there, that is always in that makom. Now, it's not literally speaking, but it should not be used for any other purpose whatsoever. So Reb Chaim says, he's bothered with it. Okay, that's the place they put the Shumas Adeshen, but what about the Deshen they took directly out? So he says, Shem and Mami Kan off the Deshen Shemaisi. Okay, we learn from that as well, because learning the makom figuratively. So it's to tell you about that. You should remain in place and not be used for some other purposes. That also goes on the Dishim Mizbeach Chitzim as well. Midayin Dishim Mizbeach HaPnimi. How do we know, according to him, the concept Dishim Mizbeach HaPnimi? Because he used a Mokum Adeshen to teach us that the Deshen Mizbeach HaChitzon, both that of the Trumas Deshen and later the Deshen which we take out separately is Osir Banoah. So how does he know this whole concept of Dishim Mizbeach HaPnimi? So because there's pasuk, he says, Vizola Viktir. Let's see the pasuk inside. This is talking about the Avodah of Yom Kippur. Vizola Min Adam. You sprinkle the blood of the blood of the korban, the Kohen Gadol Betzbo, with his finger Shevet Pamim on the Mizbeach HaPnimi. V'tirov v'kicho mitamos b'nei Yisrael, and you purify it and you consecrate it from the tumors of b'nei Yisrael. So he says, okay, and there's another pasuk, right? It says there, "B'yizor lamed adam." That's why you get the Zayin test, and Shmos lamed Zayin, Perek Lamed Pasuk Zayin says, "V'ktil love Aaron ba'oker Torah boker ba'boker." And Aaron will do the Haktorah Baboker, the Beitul Sektan, the pasuk previously. That is the that's the pasuk of the pasuk of the Torahs, right? So we're making a shav here, olav, right? And we're saying that Ma'azoya. Just like Hazoya has to be on the Mizbeach itself. Afaktorah Begufo, so too the Haktorah in Shmos has to be on as well. So let's see the Korban Eda. Bizarre Victor love Victor love Bizarre Penixib Pashas Achrimos. Bizarre love the Shinakamon Perakotilo. And later I'm going to say love the law gabe cholim the law gabe if they're not on coals and not on ashes, el gabi zarvo, but on the gold of the zbech, the top of the zbech. Ktoros namik see viktirolov. Like Ktoros also says viktirolov, being a namish lo gabi efer lo gabi chum, he'll go shit on nation. That's mean on the mizbech itself, not on the ashes nor on the coals, and therefore you have to do dishun in order to make sure that it's on the flush top of the mizbech. It says more further. How do we know that this Dishu Mizbeach HaPnimi, not Mizbeach HaPnimi itself, but how do we know that the Dishu of the Mizbeach HaPnimi is Osman Kav It's Kav Chomer. Mizbeach Chitzon Osman if like he learned from Koma Deshen, Stephen Komer, that's Osman HaPnimi Lo Koshke. HaPnimi, which says the Pnei Moshe, Minai Mizbeach Nishu Osman Hadesh Lo Kav Chomer. HaPnimi Shu Yosef Kodesh, and like Til of Ktoros B'chol Yom. It's more Kodesh than Mizbeach Chitzon. He's only to bring Ktoros every day. Lo Koshke She Hadesh and Shlo Osman Noya. I know Ktoros is considered to be, if only because it's in the Hechel, so it should be considered more Kodesh than the Adam Mizbeach, which serves for various different purposes. So it's also Bahanoah. I think that, I'm not sure that's Pnei Moshe meant, but I think that that's why it is more Kodesh, because it's in the Hechel. Okay, next one is really fascinating. It says Rabbi Zir Shem Mechin said Ketor should Kavas, Ketor which got extinguished. Humima, it becomes a Bamu. Says the Pnei Moshe Rosh Kavas the coals got extinguished. The issue has there's some Ketores which is still on those extinguished coals. Huma, Klomar Nifsla, meaning becomes possible. The can't put on again as Torahs. Even significant crystals which remain ain't Tzarich. You don't have to put them back. It sounds here like not just ain't Tzarich Lachziron, you're not allowed to put them back. Because it says Humama. That's where it says I feel Bekrotin, right? Even the crystals which are significant, right? You can't put them back. She'en ksiv ochlo. It only says ochlo. That means that it has to be consumed. I don't think. Let's go bring the pasuk. Maybe it's down one of the notes. Not the Torah or Shalom doesn't bring it down. Equal. He actually changed the Girsha. Shenksiv equal. Not ochlo, but equal. What's the pasuk? Pasuk brings out in the footnote here. Vayikra vav gimel sher tochal eish es olah al mizbeach, and then it's as if it says sher tuchal eish, should be completely consumed. Okay, so the shenksiv ochlo or equal. The articles, I see the article comes to Shnei Nuschos at the bottom of the page. So it says in the film, it says equal. Elam is be'achachitzo. So there, you leave stuff on until it's consumed. If something jumps off the fire, you put it back on the fire until it gets slowly consumed. And Mizbeach HaKtorah, it's not like that. Anyway, even though there's still crystals left, once they've extinguished, you don't put them back on again. Let's read the Korban says the Pnei Moshe. I'm sorry. Shein ksiv ikul amizeh chitzon d'chsiv asher tochal eish t'soa amizeh. Hashin ikule ola tamachzir imam paku. What's getting consumed by the ola you put back if they fell ipaku yibar ola mezbech, if the limbs popped off the mizeh. Machzir and sheochul amizbech. Bring back the consumed amizeh. V'tamachzir ikul iktoras, but not the parts of the iktoras which popped off. Psila shekavas. A wick, which in the menorah, which got extinguished, and it has to be cleaned out. Actually, before we go on, I just noticed the Yerushalmi brings in a very nice chazanish worth saying that the Ketores, there's no mitzvah to be consumed because the mitzvah by Ketores is to produce a fragrance. And in fact, once it's been extinguished, it's damaged. It's not going to produce the same fragrance anymore. And therefore, it's like a regular like grain, which became wormy, which is not appropriate. So here too, it's like almost like it's like a flaw. It's the fact that it was already singed or in their fire. So whatever good fragrance it had already gave off. It's not going to give off a good fragrance again. But the main point is that it's a din in the fragrance, not a din in the consumption. Okay, I think that added on something. Hope so. So getting back to this question, psila covers tzricha dishu. Psila, which became extinguished, requires dishu. Now here it says in the Gemara itself, it says ma miyad is is have to be immediate, but the Shardai so says that it's as if it's saying, how do you do it? As if it says, even though it says miyad bayad, so you're done by hand. You move the psila by hand. That's the case. Tamir Rabbi Chia Bar Loni Amar Me'ata. If that's the case, Toshia makes it. Right? You have to wait till it cools down. Because you can't touch it with your hand right away. Even if you learn if you learn the way it's in front of us, so you have the question is, Ma Miyad is immediate? No. Tamir Rabbi Chia Bar Loni Amar Me'ata Toshia makes it. No, you have to wait till it cools down. So you can take it out. But I think the Shaitan way of learning it is probably true. Is that Ma Biyad, they have to take it off with your hand? No. That's the case. Can you take it immediately? Says, come on, no, you have to wait till it cools down. All right, works either way. Then the second one is Shemen Maushir Tzarich Dishu. You have to remove the oil and not put additional oil on top of the olive oil that's already there. The Moshe says, Lotzia Bloiten Shemen Chel Lemalos Anes. Malos Haner. The Milser Yeshua Yitzchak Amar Shemen Tzarich Dishu. From the same Rabbi Shua Bar Yitzchak, which we're about to see, we will see that Shemen Tzarich Dishu. Okay, but that the oil has to be removed. But this already is on Daf Tezvav or Aleph, I believe, and therefore we will leave the evidence from Rabbi Shua Yitzchak till tomorrow.